Hello, and welcome to another session on artificial intelligence, collaborative with CITL and the Council for Exceptional Children. My name is Sean Smith. I'm a professor here at the University of Kansas in the Department of Special Education. I'm also a member of the CITL leadership team, and I'm here to talk about applying AI tools in special education, strategies for implementation and impact. Now, as we get started, let's start thinking about, and let's not forget thinking about, individuals with disabilities, of course. And of course, practices that we know are effective. Specially designed instruction leads the way. High leverage practices gives us a structure to operationalize what we do for instruction, assessment, behavior, and so much more. And of course, we spend a lot of our time as educators with individuals with disabilities, accommodations and modifications. So think of these things when we think about our thought partners, AI. And so where can AI take an evidence-based practice and make it potentially more effective, more efficient? How can it assist an educator that may not have the time to be able to offer these accommodations? And overall, how do we personalize this to make it more independent for the individual? So we're going to give you a variety of different examples, and those examples are going to, of course, be AI tools. We are not endorsing any specific product system, or tools. We're simply using them to be able to illustrate and give you context, and that's our disclaimer here. So let's get started. Let's start off with some tools that many of us are familiar with that have been around for years, if not decades. Word prediction. Word prediction is very much available. It increases the quantity of writing over time for students with disabilities. It's been shown that very much in terms of the evidence, as well as the quality over time as well. Underutilized tool that is very AI-based. Text levelers, they've been out there for years with things like Newsela to allow an individual to have access to a content text at the level that then allows them to be able to, with potentially text-to-speech, read, understand, comprehend, and move on. Of course, text-to-speech has been integral. It's been around for decades. It's sitting there on all our devices and used with things like Bookshare, which if you're unfamiliar with Bookshare, funded by the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Special Education Programs, right now 1.3 million digital text and counting. And with that, of course, we use our text-to-speech to be able to get that fluency and understand it and so much more. Now, I'm going to try to illustrate this a little bit further in two different ways. First of all, I'm going to offer you some gift-wrapped examples. And there I'm going to break it down into two parts, and I'll get to that in just a moment. And then we're going to unpack writing a little bit deeper and offering some very specific tools there. All right, so let's get started. So I said I'm going to gift wrap it, and from gift wrapping, I'm going to talk to you about it in two different ways. Well, the first way I want you to think about these AI tools is the fact that increasingly we have a number of AI tools created for us, educators. And so, yes, we could use the ChatGPTs and Copilots of the world, but why not go directly to AI tools that have been developed for things that we use in our classrooms today? And so Magic School does that. So that's the first part. The second part, what Magic School does, and by the way, it organizes it under instruction, planning, organization, the different AI tools, and the list goes on. And there's teacher-oriented ones or facilitated ones and student ones as well. But let's illustrate the second part beyond simply AI that is generated for educators. But we're also going to take a look at a rubric generator, which is my second example. And that is, instead of being a prompt engineer, instead of being an expert in what I need to interact with the AI with, what Magic School and other tools like it do is they say, okay, well, in order to create a rubric, you need to know what grade level it is. So fine, out of K through 12, select your grade. Point scale, out of 3 through 9, select your points. What's the standard objective of your meeting? What's the assignment description? So instead of kind of thinking about what do I need to do for a prompt and going back and forth, I provide this information, then Magic School generates a rubric based on what an effective rubric is. And effective rubrics are very critical. It's just not simply all rubrics are the same. And then this is something then I could utilize implementing the Universal Design for Learning framework. I want to offer action expression. I want to offer multiple options for assessment, but I would use the same rubric to be able to grade all those different options. And of course, in so doing, make a more availability for accommodations and the like for students with disabilities. For students with disabilities, we know images are critical. Social narratives and social stories, images can be the difference maker in that evidence-based practice. So how do I generate them? How do I generate them in an easy way without having to use a variety of different prompts? Again, Magic School offers something like image generator or to be able to create this. In addition, they'll have text leveler. Text leveler, of course, to be able to allow for further access to text, fluency of reading, understanding of reading. I can take any text and have it generated down to the grade level the student's operating on, not the grade level it was published at. The list goes on. Now, there's a number of different, increasingly AI tools that are gift wrapped for us. So EduAid AI, again, creates a number of different tools, AI supports, AI-based for the needs of the classroom teacher. Canva has been out there for years for educators, and it's added in an AI support. So for example, if I want to create an evidence-based graphic organizer to assist in terms of reading comprehension or to assist in terms of the writing process, graphic organizer has been shown to be effective in both those instances. Well, I can use AI now to generate that, both from the student developing it or from the teacher developing it to be able to use immediately. Now, Brisk is another tool that's been out there for a while now. It's created by Google, and it allows for a number of different supports that are teaching focused, educator focused, to repurpose information for me to be able to offer accommodations and modifications for students with disabilities. And of course, immersive reader, it's text to speech, but so much more. Progress monitoring is a critical focus here to better understand where the student is functioning at. Then the reading coach takes over with text to speech to make it much more immersive in terms of fluency, comprehension, decoding, and vocabulary understanding. Now, before we go on into writing, I want to give you one illustration. And that illustration is NotebookLM. And now NotebookLM does not replace us as educators, but it will take and convert complex text into summary guides or scaffolds or guided notes. It'll allow for a teacher to take something that was one content created and create it into multiple formats. So for example, allow for that varied learner, or again, implement elements of universal design for learning with options. And then finally, it offers progress monitoring, so much more. So let me give you an example of it. So here's an example where I took an Oreo strategy. So here's the Oreo strategy. And you'll notice this is a presentation. It's on a writing strategy. It's very text-based, very text-heavy. And let me illustrate two different things. The first thing I want to illustrate is the fact that it will take this PowerPoint, which I uploaded, it will summarize, it will create a variety of different things, including a video of that process. So here, let me go ahead and click play.
Why you think what you think. Next up is E for evidence. That's the second layer of filling.
So here it is illustrating the breakdown of it. Let me fast forward a little bit.
It's not the exact same words. We're not just copy pasting. It's a rephrasing that wraps everything.
So it's walking me through the process, and in the walking me through
Wild,
the
I
process,
know. So
it's putting its own images. It's created a video out of my presentation. It's generated images. Now, of course, with any type of AI supported resource, I'm going to need to unpack it. I'm going to need to go back and review it. I need to make sure it's appropriate. But gosh, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find it's hitting the mark. And so it's taking something that is one format and offering multiple formats for those learners. Now, what it also does is allows for a little bit more personalized learning, a little bit more interaction. So I'll go ahead and show you the same type of content. Now it's going to have two AI generated voices teaching you about it, interacting with it, summarizing it. Here we go.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to take all that research, all those notes you've gathered, and really just distill it all down to the essential, actionable knowledge. Oh, hey, our listener wants to join in. What's up?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just wondering, does this have anything to do with the Oreo cookie?
That is a fantastic question.
It absolutely does.
And we love that you chimed in.
Okay, let's unpack this.
The Oreo framework is a structured approach.
And it stands for opinion, reason, evidence.
So it will interact and it will go back and forth with me in terms of the resources I shared. Now, in addition to audio and video, it offers a mind map or a graphic organizer. It'll take that information and break it into flashcards. Anything I upload, it will regenerate, repurpose. And again, what I'd like, the audio and the video for that multiple format component. Now, in addition to NotebookLM and things of that nature, I want to, as I mentioned a moment ago, break down into the writing challenges. And with writing challenges, Samantha Goldman, a colleague of mine here at the University of Kansas, an assistant researcher with the Lifespan Institute, she has shared a number of these resources. And so she's not here today, but I'm thinking of her as I share many of these resources and some projects we're doing together. So let's first think about writing. Just like we were thinking about individuals with disabilities, we know there's an element of written text, text production, and knowledge about writing. There's a lot of complexities that goes into it. We're going to focus on organization, idea generation, et cetera, in just a moment. But also, I share this visual because, my goodness, writing is hard. It involves that self-regulation executive function. It's a process that's continuous. Well, here's a better visual for it. Oftentimes we think of a linear, but it's a very recursive process. And AI can be a critical thought partner to help students and educators facilitate this writing process. So let me give you an illustration, all right? So brainstorming and planning, idea generation. We know a lot of students that have writing problems, of course, have reading challenges. They don't have the content, they don't have the vocabulary. You're trying to brainstorm what you're trying to write about. That's going to be hard. So idea map, everything from idea map down to Goblin tools, they create graphic organizers, they create planning checklists. They facilitate and sequence what it is I'm needing to do and what I need to write about, and of course, what comes first, second, third, etc. And of course, it gives me ideas. It assists me as I start the process. Now, as a writer, in addition, I might want to use speech to text. Now, Auditor, I think it's called Auditor AI or pronounced Auditor AI. I can speak my text. It generates it into text, but then with the AI feature, it allows me more of the writing process, not just simply as a tool of speech to text, but it then allows me that interaction to continue that writing process. Amongst Jenny and We Will Write offers some great text generation support. Now, revising and editing, very difficult. I'm done. I've written. I'm done. No, there's revising and editing. What I love is Edit GGP. Now, what that does is it allows me to track change, but the AI gives me the ideas. The AI then makes suggestions based on my original writing. And of course, I can share this with my educator, but I also get some of that personalized support my educator may not have time for. And of course, Quillbot and others have a great sense of being able to offer that revising and editing. But before I leave you, I want to emphasize a tool that's here at the University of Kansas. Is called AI Score, and it's focused on giving students feedback immediately. There's lots of different advantages for that. We don't have time to go over all of them. You can unpack it later. But the big thing we know is that, my goodness, there's good evidence to show that if teachers give immediate, regular feedback, students will be more engaged in their writing, more effective in their writing. They will not develop poor habits in their writing. And finally, they'll increase the quality. But sadly, we don't have that bridge. It's not connected. We don't have that time for lots of different reasons teachers offer in terms of why they can't get that immediate feedback. But AI is stepping in. Snorkel, Magic School, Brisk Teaching, they're all offering tools that are AI based to offer that immediate feedback. Now, I want to offer one that's free. It's called Project AI Score. It's out of here at the University of Kansas. We've been developing it for the last year. And AI Score is based on the fact that we want to give students an opportunity to write. And after that write, we're going to give them an opportunity to get immediate feedback to be able to understand what they did well and what challenges was. But we also want to involve the teacher for them to understand that and to see the data to make decisions about instruction. So here we go. The prompt is a prompt library. They're all informative prompts. This one happens to be explain how to write a story. Automatically, they're given an opportunity for planning notes. They have a minute. The students have a minute to write on that. And by the way, the prompts is a library of prompts, third grade reading level to keep it nice and easy for that middle school writer or that secondary high school writer. Informative prompts, because that tends to be what they're measured on at the middle school, high school environment. All right, second. After the informative prompt is offered, they then write a minute of planning notes. That planning notes then goes into the chance where they can write. And with that writing, they have 9 minutes to write. And by the way, if they have other types of supports, speech to text, if they have a text to speech, if there's tools that they have on their Chromebook or their tablet, they can use this as they write as well. It's up to the teacher. So they have a 9-minute write. When they're done with that 9-minute write, they automatically get feedback. Don't get lost with the short nature of that write. Just an example. But they'll get feedback. How did they do? Overview. What was good? What potentially could need some revisement, improvements. And they'll do it on content, organization, and style. So they can click along here in these areas and they get the teacher, the student immediately gets that without even interacting with the teacher. And so if you wanted to know more, we've done this in terms of unpacking a rubric. The rubric is a combination of multiple rubrics. It's valid and reliable, 18 different opportunities in terms of point-wise. And then here's what the teacher sees. The teacher can then say, wait, I want to see how the scores are distributed across the students that took this prompt. And then they can start focusing on most likely the students that are really struggling down here. Now, they can also take a look at the distribution of data by student. So they can see, oh, in the yellow area, Abigail and Liam, oh, but gosh, Grace is really doing well. But from there, they can select this student and take a look at, well, gosh, over time, how are they doing? Again, in the areas of content, organization, and style, and overall. So it's progress monitored there. In addition, for those of us wondering, it's very much protected student data. Conversation for another time, but the technology is increasingly coming out there AI-wise, where we can have the teacher see the data, have the students see the feedback and the data, but also not allow system administrators and others that shouldn't be seeing the data, that should be protected. And there's ways of doing it. And of course, that's a visual of that process that you can unpack at a later time. Finally, folks, if you're interested in AI Score, there's a visual to get more information. But of course, this has been a collaboration between CNC and CITL. I hope I've made some connections, again, with artificial intelligence, its implications for practice. And I hope with the tools I've offered, I hope I illustrated how it aligns with specially designed instruction, how it aligns with evidence-based practice, and how it meets the learner's needs for accommodations and modifications to be able to enhance those learner outcomes for students with disabilities. Again, Sean Smith with the CITL Center, and I hope this was very helpful.